Gido district in Arusha region. The Minister of Agriculture, Professor Adolf Mkenda, has said the anti-desert locust operation is proceeding well.
Today we are going to sleep here and the aircraft will remain here because if it goes back to the airport it will not come back on time. No one is leaving. We want to motivate those who are on the forefront of this operation. We believe that we shall finalize the exercise once we manage to destroy all the pests at the valley. There is also a possibility of having another aircraft to help the pesticides. Experts have destroyed the pests from Engirakate by almost 30%, where 70% of them flew to Monduli and came back yesterday around 2 p.m. and have covered almost 45 hectares of land. These pests are adults, so far have destroyed some leaves. The exercise of destroying the pests is ongoing.
Tanzania Episcopal Conference of Bishops has said continued death caused by coronavirus in the country is of great concern and that Tanzanians should take serious measures to protect themselves by wearing masks, using sanitizer and avoiding crowds.
Uko salama kweli padi? Mpaka sasa kwa miezi miwili kuna mapadi wamekufa kwa magonjwa mbalimbali, lakini kwa magonjwa ya pumzi mapadi zaidi ya 25 ndani ya miezi miwili haijawahi kutokea. Sisi ndani ya miezi miwili unakuta tumepoteza labda mapadi nchi nzima 3, 4 kwa sababu ya uzee, kwa sababu ya magonjwa mengine. Lakini sasa hivi magonjwa mchanganyiko ikiwemo asilimia kubwa hili la kupumua pamoja na kwamba wana magonjwa mengine, mapadi zaidi ya 25, masista, manesi, madaktari zaidi ya 60. Sasa unajua ndani ya miezi miwili tunapoteza watu wengi hivi. Kanisa Katoliki tu.
Ujue mwanzo corona ilivyoanza, sawa serikali yenyewe ilitoa kipaumbele. Hata kwenye madaladala tukapo tunaona watu level city au sio bwana ila sasa hivi serikali yenyewe hata kuanzia serikali ya juu hadi chini hakuna mwenye mkazo. Sawa, ndio maana hata sisi wananchi tumechukulia swala la kawaida.
Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa has directed Tanzania Ports Authority to make sure it continues to strengthen management of flow meters in order to prevent loss of revenues and ensure revenue collected from all ports in the country go to the central government fund. Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa gave the directive after an inspection tour on flow meters at Gigamoni and Kurasini Oil Jetty at the port of Dar es Salaam.
In 2016, our technology level was poor. We incur a lot of losses from high consumption of fuel to minimal revenues. The fourth phase government decided to purchase flow meter of Kigamboni, and the fifth phase government continued the pace of purchasing these plants in Dar es Salaam, Tanga and Mtwara, with the aim of improving our ports, especially on the area of fuel. Today we have managed to secure this plant, even our other ports where fuel consignments are offloaded in all our ports. As a government, we want to reach a point that we're sure of everything that we do. The meters will make our ports operate in a transparent manner for our customers to continue having faith in us.
The President of Zanzibar and the Chairman of the Liberational Council, Dr. Hussein Mwinyi, has completed his team of ministers after appointing 3 new ministers, 2 of whom from ACT Wazalendo Party. A press statement signed by the Chief Secretary, Engineer Zen Ahmed Said, said that Dr. Hussein Mwinyi has appointed Dr. Saada Mkuya as Minister of State, First Vice President's Office, Nasser Ahmed Mazrui as Minister of Health, Social Welfare, the Elderly, Gender and Children, and Omar Said Shaban, who was the lawyer for ACT Wazalendo, as the new Minister of Trade and Industry Development. ACT Wazalendo Party has commended the latest appointments.
Tumaini ya wanachama wetu ni makubwa kama maongozi.
Our political party members are hopeful that coaching and leadership that these leaders received from the late Maalim Seif Sharif Hamad, a legacy that was left behind by the former First Vice President, will live on through these ministers. They shall work fully for the betterment of all citizens.
The Minister of State's President's Office for Investment, Kitila Mkumbo, has launched a book on investment guidelines in Katavi region whereby he called on public servants to create conducive environment for local and foreign investors in order to speed up development and economic growth.
We must ensure that we assist investors with good services so that they will continue to invest in our country, because at this era there are big competitions in attracting investors globally. Thus, we must prepare ourselves to attract investors to come and invest in Tanzania so as to build our economy. This bank will provide more sensitization in investments in the agriculture sector, livestock keeping, fisheries. So far, the bank has issued more than 98 million shillings worth tractors to 2 farmers and 2 irrigation schemes.
The Immigration Department in Kigoma region has arrested 56 illegal immigrants from the Democratic Republic of Congo, Burundi and Rwanda illegal entry in the country. Some of them were arrested while doing various activities such as fishing on Lake Tanganyika.
Warundi raia kutoka Burundi ni 51. Kutoka Congo tunakamata wameja raia 4.
There are almost 51 illegal immigrants from Burundi, 4 from Congo and 1 from Rwanda. Among them, 17 are claiming to be Tanzanians. We shall conduct thorough investigations to find out the truth behind their citizenship. From our investigations, we have found out that these illegal immigrants not only deal with fishing activities, they engage in other activities, including criminal activities. These days in Burundi, they do not issue IDs freely. They are expensive. That is why we come to this side. If you're not Tanzanians, don't involve yourself with fishing activities. If there are workers who have no documents, their bosses should take them to immigration officers to get proper documents so that they can live peacefully in the country.
Serengeti has won the 2021 Best National Park Award after becoming the top out of 25 best parks in the world due to its unique wild-beast migration. Other parks are to also receive award from the World Travel Advisory Forum, were Kilimanjaro and Tarangire National Parks. This was revealed in Morogoro by the Minister of Natural Resources and Tourism, Dr. Damas Dumbaro, during World Wildlife Day.
In these areas, as a country, we have performed well because the government is investing a lot. Like Serengeti National Park, it began in 1959 and has been selected to be the best national park in the world. As the NAPA, the ministry in charge, and Tanzania, we are very proud of this award. Forests are key in animal reserves because they are natural habitats of these animals. Not only that, even provide ecological essentials that are beneficial to humans. There are citizens' claims whenever there were some distractions or even death caused by animals. We are calling on the ministry to pay them on time so that people will continue regarding these animals advantageous to their communities.
Ahead of International Women's Day, Tanzania Women's Lawyer Association TAWLA today presented an award to the Ambassador of the European Union to honor 30 years of the EU support in advocating for women's equality in Tanzania. Speaking after receiving the award at his residence in Dar es Salaam, the EU's ambassador to Tanzania, Manfredo Fanti, said TAWLA has been their partner for several projects, which include strengthening participation of women and youth in Tanzania.
This is a very complex issue, and I have to say that unfortunately this is a phenomenon which is also very well known in Europe, because in Europe we are not immune from that. We have seen that there are various areas in which we can work to fight against that. First of all, education. Education and making all women aware of their rights and of the fact that they need to be respected and that they have not to accept violence and imposition. Secondly, working on the mentality of men, because this is the important thing. We always speak about what women should do, but men have to change their attitude with regard to gender-based violence.
Through policy, legal and institutional reform, community action and also media engagement. In this context, TAWLA envisage a society that respects and upholds the rights of women. In 2020, TAWLA commemorated its 30th anniversary since its registration in 1990, and hence it used the commemoration.
That is the end of the national news. International news comes next after the break. And in international news, Rwanda received the first COVID-19 vaccine on Wednesday from the World Health Organization's Global Vaccine Sharing Scheme, COVAX. According to the Ministry of Health, a flight carrying 240 doses of AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine produced by the Serum Institute of India landed at Kigali International Airport in the morning hours of Wednesday.
Earlier today, we received 240,000 vaccine, but also we will receive another dose of 102,966, and all these will be enough for hundreds of people, especially groups that are at risk of infection. We start early on a Friday this week.
Lakini wasiwasi wangu ni kwamba katika historia ya
My concern is that these vaccines have taken such a short time to be accepted. The vaccine may or may not be successful, but we believe the government will follow up on it.
Meanwhile, 1.2 million doses of AstraZeneca Oxford 19 vaccine arrived at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in Nairobi on Tuesday night. The vaccine were transported by UNICEF as part of the COVAX facility, which aims to provide equitable access to vaccine for all countries around the world.
We are starting with our health workers. Let's make it clear. We are starting with our health workers. Kenya has approximately 400,000 health workers in the country. After that, we are going to roll out to other frontline workers. We have got the police, we have got the teachers and other people. After that, we are going to go to people with comorbidities, people who have got other infectious, people who have got other diseases, so that we can also protect them. And only then are we then going to start rolling it out to the rest of the population. So we hope that Kenyans will understand. We have to have a priority list. We can't do everybody at the same time. We also want to say that this is only the first arrival. There will be more vaccines coming through, and therefore we don't want anybody to panic and to think that they are not going to get vaccinated.
To Germany now, where frustration is growing over the government's handling of the coronavirus pandemic. For months, public life has been reduced to a bare minimum. Now the country is expected to loosen some restrictions despite infection numbers once again being slightly on the rise. For more now, we are now joined by our DW correspondent Nicole Florich in Berlin. Now, Nicole, patience is wearing thin in Germany after over 100 days of a highly restrictive shutdown. Leaders gathering today will decide on a way forward. What is the likely outcome of the meeting?
Well, according to preliminary information, the most likely scenario will be an extension of the shutdown until at least the end of the month. This next phase, however, will be lighter than the one currently in place. We're looking at a slight relaxation of contact restrictions, a nationwide opening of book and flower shops, as well as a return to certain activities with a negative test result in hand. We do have to bear in mind, though, that this is all happening while infection rates are slowly inching up again. So So epidemiologically, any move to reopen is a move too far. But people in Germany are increasingly wary of the measures. The government hasn't presented a structured plan that would provide citizens with a tunnel end to work towards. Scientists are warning that giving in to public pressure now could have devastating consequences, but it very much looks like at the end of the day, leaders will throw the people a bone, which won't be the long-term perspective many are asking for.
Point of criticism in the country is the sluggish vaccine rollout. Thousands of doses are going unused. Why is this happening?
Hundreds of thousands, rather. AstraZeneca has a bad reputation among big parts of the German population. There are parts of the country where 25% of people eligible for inoculation turned down the jab, not because they're against vaccines per se, they just didn't want to get the AstraZeneca shot. I myself have spoken to plenty of people who share that sentiment, even some who work in the healthcare sector. That could, of course, turn out to be problematic because in Germany it's currently vulnerable and exposed segments of society that are getting vaccinated. They prefer to remain completely unprotected rather than getting the shot, indicating that they fear the cure or the vaccine more than the disease. That mistrust can be largely attributed to a misinterpretation of scientific data and a lack of comprehensible and accessible information provided by the company and the government, for that matter. Plus, for the time being, Germany is only using AstraZeneca on people under the age of 65. That will soon change, but has, of course, contributed to public apprehension. The whole situation now has some state leaders calling for a reconsideration of the country's vaccination strategy. They're proposing a more pragmatic approach. If those whose turn it is don't want it, then we'll give it to those who do.
A lot of hope for a return to some kind of normalcy were pinned on the recent emergency approval of COVID tests in Germany. So can Germans now get their DIY tests along with their groceries?
Well, that was the plan, but right now it is still just that, a plan. There were high hopes, especially among members of the hard-hit hospitality and culture sectors when these tests got approved. But so far, they're not readily available. But even if they were, they wouldn't be the magic bullet they've been made out to be. Experts warn about these home kits not reaching their full pandemic control potential without a strategy attached to their launch. It's, for example, not clear whether the result of a self-test could be used as official proof of being COVID-free for traveling, for example, and the government can't find a way of dealing with people who, let's say, test positive at home with nobody watching and then refuse to quarantine. The German health minister actually promised free rapid testing for everyone starting March 1st. And while PCR tests are, of course, still the gold standard, it's something that has proven crucial in COVID tracing and containment in other countries. That proposal ran into scaling and financing problems, so here too, Germans will have to wait a little longer. But as I pointed out before, patience is running out, and especially with neighbors Denmark and Austria successfully implementing more aggressive testing strategies, many wonder what's taking so long.
Many thanks, Nicole Forage from Berlin. That is the end of international news. Business comes next after the break.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
We believe that the driver is the customer.
To change the mindset of traditional HR to the digitalization.
Make sure that everybody can get some access to financial services.
And once we understand the vision of our leaders, we then need to be behind them and help them in achieving that vision.
Business have involved mercantile operations, trade guilds for shared agricultural production, infrastructure, construction, financial sectors, tourism, and mining. Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
And in business news, the Land Transport Regulatory Authority (RATRA) has officially launched the electronic ticketing system to be used by passengers traveling on up-country buses as well as neighboring countries.
Kwa nini? Kwa sababu tunataka kupunguza employment purpose.
Every bus you see is an economic unit, and we want to reduce the economic purpose. But again, years ago we mismanaged these economic units.
Miaka iliyopita hiyo tumemismanage hii economic unit. Wana changamoto ya kuhakikisha mapato yao wanapata yote.
The challenge is to make sure that they get all of their income, and that was in 2014. Now, how do we make sure that these exporters get all of their money?
Ambayo mamlaka imetenga kama nauli.
The government has said it will soon stop importation of water pipes as local industries, particularly those owned by local investors, have the capacity of manufacturing water pipes that meet international quality standards.
Wizara tunakwenda kutekeleza miradi mingi sana na tunatamani bidhaa.
As the ministry, we are going to implement a lot of projects, and we want products like these pumps so we can get them here in the country. The goal is to see all the projects implemented in time.
Kwa sasa na sisi tumeanza kuridhika na viwango.
We are satisfied with the quality of the products made by our local manufacturers. Looking at the standards and prices, we are satisfied. That is why we have started using our local manufacturers.
Onion traders at the onion market in Singida Municipal have said that lack of uniform packaging materials has made it difficult to transport the commodity to the wholesale Kariakoo market in Dar es Salaam.
Hapa tuna mfumo wetu wa gunia. Kifungasho chetu wafanyabiashara kinaonekana ni kidogo.
We as traders, our packaging seems small, but it is exactly the same as the government instructions. A trader from Moshi and another from Singida. When we get to Kariakoo market, the packages seems small. We asked the Minister of Agriculture and his deputy to come and give us instructions and provide statements from all over the country. So when we get to the market, we compete for the product's quality and not quantity or measurements. The biggest risk is packaging. Traders' ways of packaging is not friendly to farmers, traders themselves, even the government and stakeholders. We will provide a guide system for farmers and traders.
And that is the end of business news. Sports comes next after the break.
Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's going to be dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's going to be dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Joaquinho, he did lose some length.
And in sports, KMC Football Club has boasted of winning the Vodacom's Premier League game against Police Tanzania Football Club to be played on Thursday at the Sheikh Amri Abeid grounds in Arusha.
We are prepared to come and get good results. The game will be tough, but we are all well prepared. We started preparations from Dar es Salaam. Here we are just finished. to see that we are fighting to get 3 points, considering we lost on our first match while in Dar es Salaam. So this is like a war.
The National Sports Council has commended 38 sports associations and federations which have submitted strategic plans for 2021 and has directed the remaining association to do so before 14th March.
Lengo la serikali ni kwamba ili kufahamu ile mipango ambayo vyama inategemea kufanya, ili serikali iangalie jinsi gani inaweza ikashirikiana nao katika matukio yale ya kitaifa na kimataifa. Kama serikali malengo yako ni makubwa, kwamba inategemea kwamba vyama hivi vitaibua vipaji vya michezo kwa michezo. Kwa hiyo nitoe wito basi kwamba vile vyama vihakikishe vinawasilisha mipako yao haraka kama tulivyokuwa agizo hili.
Pep Guardiola believes Manchester City have come through hell and done something more than remarkable by overcoming a tough winter schedule to extend their winning run to 21 games in all competitions by beating Wolverhampton Wanderers. More on the game.
One victory courtesy of 3 goals inside the final 10 minutes means City have not dropped points in the league since drawing with the West Bromwich Albion on 15th September, and now 15 points clear at the top of the table. During that time, they have played 21 games in all competitions, reached the final of the League's Cup, the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, and taken control of their last 16 Champions League tie against Borussia.
Cristiano Ronaldo marked his 600th league appearance with his 20th Serie A goal of the season as Juventus comfortably beat Spezia. More on this story.
All 3 goals came in second half, with Ronaldo getting his side's third when he finished off a quick counter-attack in the final minute. Victory moved Juventus to within 3 points of second-placed AC Milan. Ronaldo's goals means he has become the first player to score at least 20 goals in each of the past 12 seasons in Europe's top 5 leagues.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin. Thank you for watching and good night.
Thank you.